Hey, hello everyone. Oh no, this video is not made public, so I'm just gonna have to change that in the setting real quick, otherwise nobody's gonna be able to see it. And for some reason my computer, there is an obvious reason, it's freaking hot today, and my computer doesn't like that. I don't like that. Like, who would like it when it's too hot? Like, it's good when it's hot. It's a beautiful day. I wish I could go outside and do some skateboarding. Actually, I can. Nothing's preventing me from doing that. I do like some skateboarding, but let's just first make that video public so that people can see it. Hello everyone, my name is Amos Nimas, and welcome to this video on which I will explain why you are not using your computer properly. First of all, most people are using Linux. They are using Windows. They are using Apple products. They are using all these bad operating systems that they know they are bad. You don't choose to use Linux, you don't choose to use Windows, you don't choose to use Apple, you just do it because it's what's available and that's what people do. Okay, there is no good reason, valid reason, when there's like all these options to choose Windows. First of all, like, most users apparently use Windows still, and not only that, but the few users that do use Linux, which is the better operating system, they don't use it correctly. That's even worse. So first of all, you have your computer, you don't use the right OS for your needs, and then you don't use it correctly. So that's what I'm gonna go over in this video. So there's on the screen, I'm just gonna put the time. Why not? Because you see, I want to know the time. I know the time. I don't need to have a constant like tab at the bottom of the screen telling me the time. But if I wanted to, I could add it. You see, that's the philosophy. You don't use a system the way it's made. You use it the way you need to use it, the way to suit your personal need. And the problem is that most people think that their personal need are so bland and so basic that the basic utility and the way the system is made by default on Windows is perfect to suit their specific needs. That is wrong. That is not how reality works. People do have different workflow, and I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you the best workflow to use a computer is not the mouse, because the mouse was created to help kids use computer. It was made to initiate people to using a computer. It was not the best, most efficient way to do stuff. It was just the way that was the quickest to pick up. You know, you take the thing, you move it, and it moves on the screen. Oh, you have like feedback, immediate feedback. Does that mean that it is the best way to do something? No, it just means that it's the quickest to learn. Like, yes, it is quick to move something, click something. Easy. Everybody can do that. You use your hands. It's instinctive. It flows quick. For playing video game, the mouse has its purpose. I'm not saying the mouse doesn't have its purpose, but here's the reality. When it comes to doing actual work on the computer, actually getting the things that you want to have done, there is an aesthetic, but there is more than that. There is a workflow and there is optimization that you can gain by using the terminal for most things that aren't necessarily graphic. Like, if you can do it in the terminal, it should be done in the terminal. What is a terminal then? What I'm using right now. This is the terminal on Linux. I'm using the Kitty terminal, as you can see somewhere in here. Like, you have my NeoFetch. This is most of the relevant information about my computer. Do I have my terminal? Yeah, right here. Kitty. So you have information about which OS I am using. None. I'm lying. Honestly, at the core it's Ubuntu, but it's modified so much I call it my own OS at this point. Oh, people will watch this video. You see here the small pop-up with the time. I'm not even sure I will keep that. I'm not even sure I like that. Like, I don't even care about like having pop-ups like this. But the problem is that if I leave my computer open for too long, I will have these pop-ups accumulate, and there's probably a way to avoid that. I would probably need to spend some time fixing that, and at this point it's just a question of priority. I have so much stuff to work on, it's a question of priority. So the terminal, what I like about the terminal is that it is a bit of the Wild West. People gave up on it. So there is a lot of stuff that is not available, and that is good. You don't want your system to come with a bunch of crap that other people built before you, right? You want the Wild West. You want the opportunity to create your own tools and leave your mark. Like, at least that's what I want. I want to be able to provide something when I use the computer. Otherwise, I'll just use ChatGPT all day long and I'm good. But yeah, you first use the terminal. Second, don't use the default OS like Windows and Apple, because they're bad. Not everybody knows they're bad. If you don't know, let me tell you right now, they are bad. Not only in terms of like being useful, but in terms of the philosophy behind them, the people behind them. Think about that kind of stuff, because it is important. Like, if, for example, our country was ruled by bad people doing bad stuff, which happens in some countries, most countries, well, we're fucked. We're in a bad situation. So we want to avoid that with our computer. We want to avoid that with our system. We want some level of freedoms and control. When something goes wrong, you want to be able to fix it and understand it. And the problem is that computers nowadays are getting so complex that people can't do anything with their computer. That's the thing. You're just forced to the surface level control. You don't have deeper level control over your computer. And that's what you need. You need more control over your computer. That's the same thing with websites. I'll talk about that in another video. Let's just focus about getting shit done. For example, if you want to do a backup on Windows, you need to open a file manager. Then you need to select the file you want to backup. And sometimes they can be on various directories on your system. They're not necessarily all at the same place. And you don't necessarily want to back up your whole system. So you need a way to tell your system, like, here's the file I want to back up. And this cat in the background, I don't know if you can hear it, probably not, but it's annoying. That cat is so annoying when doing streaming, sorry. Speaking of cat, like, I want to see the content of a file, for example, because I don't know what's in that file. For example, I can just do cat, and then I can do, for example, copy, and see I have some information there. So it's quick. It is so fast. I just deleted that file that I showed you because I don't actually need it anymore. But see, it is quick. It is faster than using the mouse. And if you learn to type fast on your keyboard, you're gonna be even faster. And there is things you can do, like movement. Just the movement in the terminal is so faster, so much faster. You don't even need a file manager. File manager, don't need that. The terminal itself is powerful enough to handle moving around and moving files around. And the quickest, the sooner you start using the terminal, the better you'll get at it. And yeah, this is my bin directory. This is very important. This is where I put all my programs. And the way I organize my stuff is, you know, based on how I use the terminal. And at first I had this vision that the home directory was a directory that I wanted to be empty for some reason. I didn't like having stuff there. But you can't avoid that. Like, your home directory is gonna have files and directory in there. Also, there is the philosophy that you don't want spaces in your name and your file name. Like, this file has space in it. I don't even know what it is, so I'm gonna try to open it. And this is like stuff. I'm not sure what it is exactly. It's I don't want to delete it because I'm unsure. It seems to be like a help, a backup of, you know, a man page or some sort. So I'm just gonna, you see, the fact that it has these little thing makes it harder to delete, but not that much. You can just do it that way. Didn't work. So try using Dell instead, because yeah, of course, RM is dangerous. RM is not that safe to use, but I should still have been able to use RM. But you know, Dell is safer, but Dell doesn't really like when there's quotes like this. So yeah, as you can see, it did not like. It's something I should fix. Dell is the utility I use for deleting file. So, but I can use, you know, MV instead. It's just gonna be simpler. But for that, I would like to know the path to my trash directory, and to know that, I could just, you know, I could just look into my Dell utility, see what file it's using for the trash. So here you have my trash file. I can just copy that, and now I can move the into the trash file. And the reason why I don't like spaces because they have a purpose. This cat is. I'm just gonna have to close the door. This cat is annoying us. Sorry for the disruption. And what was, I should probably take the time to think about what I want to say first, like, because I go into these tangents in my videos, and I think it's great content. I do like a tangent. When somebody talks about something, it makes him think of something else, and he talks about something else, like a bit like Vsauce. But yeah, it's not necessarily the most productive way of giving information to people. So I'm just gonna move that there so it's out of the way. So yeah, no spaces, avoid capitalized letter in your file. Names like this one is created by Steam, and I could just again delete it. I don't necessarily play Steam games these days. I have too much work to do. And but yeah, once you get used to using a terminal, it is better. It is just better. You have like Linux terminal, BSPWM, SXKD. I created my own workflow, to be honest. At this point, I don't see many people having the exact same workflow as I do, and I don't even think there's that many people on Earth, on this planet, who use computer the same way I do. But they should. That's the thing, they should, because when using computers like that, everything becomes clear, everything becomes simple. It might be complex to the average user, but it is like mechanic. You have the options of cars where you understand the components and can access them easily and swap them easily, and cars where the components are all soldered together and you don't understand what is doing what, and it's confusing, and it's just, you know, you just hope it keeps working, because if something stops working, you're stuck, you're bad. So right now I'm thinking about improving my backup system for files, because recently I lost like all my files on my computer, and that was awful. But hopefully I had backups, but they were old, so I do need a better backup system. So I created, if I go into my bin, I have Backman, which it returns 0 because I forgot to give it an argument. I forgot to give it a file. I'm not even sure what Backman is. You see, I have like these people coming to the video. So they read the title, they see the thumbnail, they click on the video, they see a terminal, they're afraid, they leave. They leave! Damn! It's crazy. Are you afraid of the terminal or what? That's the problem. People don't read anymore. They don't read. They cannot use a terminal. It has text. It has words. And back in the day, there was this elite class of people who were the only ones who knew how to read. You know, and I feel we're still in that world where people just don't want to read. And I'm in the same boat. Like, reading for reading's sake is just not something fun. You know, if I could just listen to somebody talk about something, it's better. But people want some visual stuff all the time. They need to be entertained. They need to have, like, you look at short content videos, so bad for the brain. And I make the opposite of that. I make freaking long video about stuff that is actually educational, where you can learn something. Like, I'm telling you, you're not using your computer properly. Like, I've used Windows in the past, long before I used Linux. Like, that's the thing. People think you're born with Linux. You're a Linux user, you use that your entire life. You never used Windows. False! Every Linux user was a Windows user who realized that Linux was better. Every one of them. There's not a single Linux user who hasn't been, at some point in their life, a Windows user. So that's just the proof that Linux is better. And I'm not, like, I'm talking about free software there. I'm not only talking about Linux. Like, Richard Stallman, like him, don't care. The philosophy behind it. Think, philosophy, use your brain, not just the face. Don't look at the face, don't look at the name. Look at the movement, look at the idea at the core of it. That is what's wrong with computer nowadays. People don't have philosophy. People don't care about philosophy. They don't care about the people that create the software that they use. They don't care about how these people think. They don't care about the impact that it has on their usage of the product. It is important. It is vital that people start to realize that philosophy, sociology, all these big names, big topics have an impact on how you use your system. Like, for example, Blender is the most used 3D software that is open source and all that. And it is bad for a reason. It does not follow the Unix philosophy. And the Unix philosophy is very simple. It says that every program should do one thing and do one thing right. Okay, it should be good at one thing and do only that thing and be excellent at that thing, be the best thing ever to do that thing. And when you start to micromanage your software like that, they become more useful because you can reuse them in other software. Because that's why I love Bash. Bash is modular. Python is modular. These scripting software have the advantage of quickly being able to source other software within them without them needing to be libraries. But recently I created, like today actually, when I say recently, I just created this lib directory which will contain my libraries. You need to create software. You cannot use computer without creating scripts. Okay, that's my point. Like actually, the whole video, what I'm trying to say is that, like, doesn't care about the OS, doesn't care about terminal or not. But if you don't create scripts, you cannot use your computer properly. You need to learn to speak the language of the computer. I'm not saying you need to program. I'm not saying you need to speak binary. I'm saying you need to be able to write a simple script to do a task. And nowadays, now that we have ChatGPT to help us, now that you have ChatGPT to help you, okay? You can, everybody can write script. Use ChatGPT, use the AI, use, like, you have these tools that are going to help. I'm forgetting how to talk. You have these tools that are going to help you create your own tools that are going to help you complete the task. Don't ask the AI to complete the task. Ask the AI to build the tool to complete the task. What language? Script. How do you do that? I'm gonna show you. Damn, I keep having like these viewer that join the video, they leave. They stay for like 1 second. They hear me talk about like stuff they never heard before, probably, I don't know, and they leave. Because it is complex topic and people don't like complex topic. That is the big issue here. The issue here, people want simplicity. They don't want to have to care about, like, they see text on the screen, they're afraid. See matrix, if I can just write that correctly while talking, so we have some visual on the screen, something happening, I don't know. But yeah, NeoFetch again, like I should probably just write a loop, or, you know, while I speak, here what are you gonna see, okay? This is going to be on the screen. This takes a lot of processing power on my computer for some reason. It's not well optimized. Like, I wish there was a version of that script that wasn't so badly optimized. This script was clearly made by an amateur, but I still use it. I still like it. It still looks good. And my terminal is one of the things I'm the proudest of because it's just the font. The font is the old Commodore 64 font. Commodore 64 was a great looking computer when it came to like the font. The font was great. The color palette, I made it myself. This is my own custom color palette, and I loaded it on my Kitty terminal without editing the Kitty config, simply using one of my tools that is on my GitHub. It's called Hexcon, and you can, you know, like, download it, try it for free, copy it, put it in a script, run it. It's great, okay? And but that's how people should use their computer. Like, not even that, you should use your computer in TTY. Not even have to run all the graphical interface, all the windows and stuff. You don't need that. You actually don't. Okay, that's a fact. The reason people think they need graphics is because, like, if you're doing graphical work, like video editing, then you might need graphic. Yeah, that can be useful. Yeah, if you're doing, but even then, we could create tools in the CLI to help you do, you know, all that works. But when it comes to like very technical graphical stuff, some people might need graphics, and then just use graphics on Linux, whatever. I'm not saying you should do everything in the terminal. Everything you can do in the terminal, however, which is a lot of stuff, more than you think. Like, even video games you can play in the terminal. Not every video game, but some. Like text-based video games similar to Dwarf Fortress can be played in the terminal, and they should. I support people that try them, you know. I create tools that are modular, that help me build other tools. So that is how, like, this is how you start to understand how your tools work. You don't create complex tools, you create simple tools, and then you use these simple tools together to complete complex tasks. This is the Unix philosophy. Where did that go? Where is that on Windows? Like, on Windows, there is none of that. You don't create stuff, you just use stuff. It's laziness. Basically, the big problem with computer, people are lazy. They don't actually want to use their computer. Why do you have a computer if you're not gonna use it? Like, the people, they want like a wizard. They want a guy, a tiny little genie that's gonna use their computer for them. And I don't like that. I don't like that mentality. I think it's a bad mentality, and that people should not think like that. I think that we should aim as a society to be more free, to be able to do more stuff, and I think that it's great, the advancement that we are doing with technology. I just don't think it's great that these advancements are done in such a way that they are kind of locked behind bars. You don't have access to the technology. You have the technology, you can use it within certain contexts. You don't have full access over it. Like back in the days, a computer, what it did, it was just processor, and then you wrote softwares that would then do the task you wanted. But everybody was a programmer. Back in the day, using a computer required you to program. I'm not saying that's great. I'm saying like programming can be hard. So I'm not like wishing for everybody to become a programmer. I'm wishing for everybody to write their scripts. This is low level, easy access task that everybody should be familiar with. Like, it's like writing a website. Websites are land on the digital ocean, you know, and by owning your own website, you can pretty much do whatever you want with that land. But when you're on other people's website, like when you use social media like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, MySpace, whatever, they control what you do. They have the authority. You don't have authority. So on your own website, you have authority. On other people's website, you don't. And I want this ownership of propriety. I'm not talking about proprietary software. That's something else. I'm talking about propriety. Having your land, being able to do whatever you want with your land. Owning your computer, being able to do whatever you want with your computer. I bought that computer, I bought the technology in that computer, I should be able to use the technology in that computer. I bought these processor, I want to be able to access these processor. So this is how people should think about using their computer. They should think about getting the job done in the quickest way possible. When it comes to editing file and stuff, when I'm using the Nanotext editor, which is the one I like to use, other people like to use Vim in the terminal, like I can teleport. I could do a quick demonstration of that if I just close the Hollywood software, which was all these fancy graphics you were seeing in the terminal. Also, there is more cooler terminal that you can use. You don't have to be limited. Like if I look for the cool ritual terminal, it's cooler looking, of course, but is it practical? I don't really use it on a day-to-day basis, only for videos and stuff, but I'll use it for this example. Like if I go into the bash RC, it looks like the past, but this is the future, folks. The future looks like the past. I know, that's how it works. We go big circle, you know, we go into the future, we go into the past, it's all the same. The past, the future repeats, the time repeats itself. Okay, the trend when it comes to fashion and stuff, fashion repeats itself. Fact. Okay, I don't think we're ever gonna go back to the era of where the kings and queens were wearing these extravagant big robes and stuff. But we are. When you look at the fashion woke fashion designer clothes that nobody actually wears, but that goes on the walkway, whatever. So how do you teleport? Control, boom, teleport to the top, teleport to the bottom, teleport to the end, teleport to the beginning. Only that, and being able to select like this. I did not use the mouse. I want to select more. You're telling me I want to select more. Okay, I am going to select more. Oh yeah, I forgot that it doesn't support the backspace and cool retro terminal, which is one of the issue I'm having with it. Why I'm not using it? Like, okay, can I just quit? No save. Okay, so at least I haven't done anything drastic, but this is basically like how you should use your computer. Like if I want to edit the file, the profile, this is the file that run when I open my computer. So that is very powerful that I have access to that. I can do a lot of cool stuff just by having access to the file. Something's broken though. I'm just gonna close the terminal and reopen that profile. So if I want to go at the bottom of the page, select, go to the top of the page, everything selected, I can just select that section. How am I gonna do that? I'm gonna, you know, select whole section. It's easy. Paragraph, want to select the whole paragraph, it's that easy. You select and then poof, you have the, oh, I did not select properly. Like I'm gonna repeat that action. So start the selection, then move down. Yeah, it's control down, sorry. Control down, select the whole paragraph. Once you get used to that, it is far quicker than using the mouse. So don't use the mouse. Use your terminal. Don't use graphic if you don't need graphic. If you just want to copy files around your system, just use CP. You want to move them, use MV. You want to delete them, don't use RM, it's dangerous. Use Del instead. My equivalent that I don't even know if I publish the code because I don't publish all my scripts. I keep them for myself. That is another thing I like. Since I create my own tools, I have an advantage over people that don't have access to my tools. So if I had to be employed for a job that used a computer, I have my own set of tools. But I am generous. I give a lot of my tools for free on GitHub. But see how I could easily edit that file. Like if I want to do a selection, whatever, it's done. Like it's the same logic for everything. It's, you know, and if I take a look at all the scripts I did, you might think that these are useless, but if I go with passgen, for example, boom, I have a password. Passgen plus my script to copy stuff, poof, I copied that password. It's not the same. I generated a password, I copied it in a single step. Did not go on any website. This is offline. Offline. Generated the password, copied the password, pasted the password. Are you impressed? And I just picked a random program amongst all the programs that I created. And you know, it is like if you look at why I use Del instead of RM, there is a reason. Del is less dangerous. It moves file, it do not delete them, so if there was something that would go wrong, you are safe. Actually, I don't think no system should use RM. RM is very dangerous. It's very like, at least not RM or RM. Like if it's just RM like this, what that can it do? It can barely destroy a single file. But when you use it recursively, there should be a warning, and no application scripts on your system should do that without giving you a warning and asking for confirmation. Like ideally, in a perfect world. But if there is no other way, then okay. But really consider your options there. So I'm creating these libraries, which is something new I wasn't doing before. If you look at the flag library, it's barely a library. It's barely. When I created it, of course, it was created to be used within other scripts. But the fact that you don't actually use a function from the flag script, you just source the flag script and it already did its thing when it is sourced, makes it different from most library. But it is still one, so it should still be in my lib directory that I created. And this is, you see, the fact that I organize my folder like that, that my bashrc works like that, makes it that the more I rely on that logic, that I assume that my scripts are in the bin directory, I assume that other scripts are in the lib directory. If other people use my script, they're not gonna work because they don't necessarily have the same file structure, the same directory structure. And I think that's something that is not discussed enough online. Like, how do you organize your directory and stuff? Like, I don't think the default organization that comes with Nautilus and all that, I think it's bad. I think Nautilus in particular is very bad the way it organizes its directory, because by default you have directories like this which use capitalization, which it's not good. If you want to display them with capitalization inside of Nautilus, it's good, but don't create file on my system that have spaces or capitalization. I don't like that Steam is doing stuff like that. One more reason to stop using Steam. Like, or if I use it, I should have like a separate device. I am completely for the Steam Deck. It's a great idea, and it's based on Linux. What more do you want? I'm not sponsored, by the way. It's just personal belief concerning these softwares. So I'll end this video there, folks. Just saying that I know you don't have to believe me. Try it for yourself. I'm not saying you should use Temple OS, but Temple OS is beautiful and it's alright. But I think there is a beauty to using a terminal. I think it is more efficient. I think it is more fun. But most of all, it is more free. Because, and I'm not talking about the Windows terminal. I'm talking about actual Linux-based Bash terminal. The Born Again shell. This is where the power like it's there to, at your fingertips. You can use it to do the things you need to do. On that note, it was a short message at the end of the day. The main message of this video was, don't be afraid of the terminal. Learn it, and you'll realize at some point, I am at that point, when I realize that there is no real alternative. This is the future of computing. The future of computing is not with graphical interface. The software that I'm creating are for the future of the human race to use. We are not always going to be slave of Microsoft, Windows, Apple, Twitter, Facebook, name it. At some point, I do think that some people are gonna want to be free from that. They're gonna want to have their own control over their device. And that's when I think a movement will appear. I see more people being attracted by the retro vintage aesthetics. When you look at AI video that are generated, you have the Panavision, which is videos that looks like they're from the 1950, you know? And so people are attracted to the way it was done back then. So it's like when people do demake, yeah, you have remake and they make demake of video game. They take modern video game and they recreate it using to look like PS1 video games, which is very cool. It's a very cool thing that people are doing. I think it could be called modern vintage content. I think that the future of computing is gonna be like that. I think that people are gonna be nostalgic for how people used to use their computer, because it is so different. It is so different. The way I use my computer is not the same way most people use their computer. There is a big difference, and which is better? If there is such a difference, it leads to the question, which is better? Am I using my computer wrong? I don't think so, because I am more efficient than most people. I can do stuff that most people cannot do. So clearly, the way I use my computer seemed to be the better one. And it's all based on philosophy. And I still try to pin down what these philosophies are. Because, for example, on the Unix philosophy, you could say that MPV, which is one of my favorite media player, does not respect the Unix philosophy because it does not do one thing and do it well. It does multiple things. But what are these multiple things? MPV plays media. Media. It does one thing. It plays media. Does it have to be a good media player? It says it in the name. It is a media player. Does it have to be a good media player to be only able to read a single media file? No! So it does respect the Unix philosophy. But when you look at text editor like Emac, for example, where people are able to play video game in their text editor, is this doing only one thing? No. Is this the best at editing text? I don't think it is. I think it does too much. When you look at Nano, Nano does one thing and it does it right. It has all the power to edit text that I need. Vim, to some extent, I think respect the Unix philosophy. Blender does not, and it's one of its point of failure. I do think I contributed a lot to this future, to this alternative future where people are using computer this way, with all the software I created. But there's always that fear that I'll die and none of this will be made accessible. Like this program right here, I'm very proud of this program. It generates my wallpaper and it makes sure like that my wallpaper, no matter the size of my screen, is gonna be perfect resolution, and it's gonna be different every time I boot my computer. If you look, example, at these characters, they're gonna be different, and the date is the current date. If I looked at the date, just gonna type day, it's the same thing, no difference. How amazing is that? And that is my wallpaper. And I wish I could film in TTY to show you TTY. The reason why you don't see TTY often is because it's hard to record, because you don't have graphics. It's just purely terminal. But this is terminal emulator. It emulates, so it's good enough. It's close enough. And I see more and more people that are using similar setup to mine. Like slowly but surely, even though my channel is not that popular, since I started, you know, using my computer a certain way, I've seen more people start to use their computer like I do, and it's inspiring. I think it's a long video. Of course, like it could have been just an article on my website, but I don't have the idea clearly defined. The idea is what? Use the terminal, use Linux. Use your computer like I do. Don't use graphical interface if you can avoid it. I think a demonstration is good. Like if I look at Passman, okay, I have two Passman software, and this is the CLI version. See, it works. It's beautiful. It's I can show the password example. Click on one, and I copied the content of it. So this is for credential. This is for storing credential. Is it encrypted? Is it whatever? Is it safe to use? Whatever. Who cares? Who cares? It's in the terminal. It's better. You know, it's stored them somewhere on the computer. Are they backup? Are they backup automatically? No. You know, that's the thing I really need to work on. Like automated backups. And you cannot do that on Windows unless you buy the software of somebody that actually know how to use a computer. You are children, you are people who don't know how to use their computer, because you need to rely on the tools created by other people who actually do know how to use their computer. And for having tried to make tools for Windows, it is unbearable. It is unbearable. It is not fun. So first of all, a good environment that will push people to create their own tools is one that is made toward being easy to use. And I see like why I don't want to use Game Engine. Game Engine is something that you need to learn. You need to learn how the game engine itself works, and if they change it, you learn something that was pointless. You learned information that went to the trash, that is no longer relevant. Applications that force you to learn information that will no longer be relevant are bad. If you went to study in a field and they are teaching you how to use a program, and once you have finished, complete your study, the program has changed, you have lost everything you've learned. You don't acquire permanent knowledge. Think about that. When I use program in the terminal, will they change? They can. It rarely happens. Like, is RM going to change? Even if it was to change, the basic core of it would not change. Maybe they would change the name. Maybe I would need to type RMM instead, and I can just go back to the previous version. So I still acquired something. But with modern application, you cannot go to the previous version if you don't like the new version. It's hard. It's complex. And why wouldn't you want the new version? But GUI application have this problem where buttons and stuff takes space, and if they want to add a new button, they need to rethink the whole placement of buttons on their app. Otherwise, even if the new button they add is more important, they will have to put it in a place that is hard to access, because I already use all the obvious space for other buttons that previously were more important. So this is a problem with GUI app. This is why I'm trying to not be reliant on them. I'm trying to not be reliant on anything. Actually, you shouldn't be reliant on anything. Video without visual, I know I don't have anything to show you other than like maybe opening GIMP, and I'm tired. Like, that's a long enough video. I said what I had to say. Believe me, don't believe me. Believe that your system is superior if you do think that. Tiling window manager, that's one of the things that is superior. If you don't have that, you know, you have window on top of each other like that, and oh, okay, there's a window behind it. Oh, I didn't know. I forgot. It's dumb. I don't use floating window most of them. And you see, like, here is GIMP. GIMP is a GUI app, and it does have button placed at some places. But the thing is, with GIMP, you can change the interface. You can move stuff around, like, yeah. That's it for this video.